Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real. I'm your host, Bob Gallagher, and I'm joined in studio today by very special guest and local real estate agent, Karen McCormack of McCormack and Scanlon Real Estate in Jamaica Plain. Karen specializes in Jamaica Plain and the surrounding areas. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you very much.
So we asked you in today to talk a little bit about what's going on in the Boston market, in particular, Jamaica Plain. What's going on with inventory down there? Is it still as crazy as it is around the rest of the city?
It's definitely, it definitely feels crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the inventory is low, which is driving buyers to a point of real frustration of not being able to get property.
Mm-hmm. And when we talked a little bit about before the show, you said that the marketing time is relatively short as far as getting it under agreement. But from the stage where you actually put the house on the market, where you list it, how long does it typically take to have it under agreement or an accepted offer anyways?
Accepted offer is 7 days is the average for Jamaica Plain for us to have an offer that's acceptable.
And what's the standard? How do the agents in JP set it up? Is it one of those things where, you have a few days to look at it online and then nobody can see it till the open house?
Exactly. That somehow was created in the last few years where if a buyer was able to get in early with this low inventory, they would make an offer right away. And then listing agents realized, and sellers, that maybe they didn't get the best price for their property. So I feel like the market itself set that up so that we list it on a Wednesday or Thursday, put it into MLS with a call to action for them to come, for the buyers to come to an open house that weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And oftentimes we're seeing agents put right into MLS, offers are due, and then they'll put a time frame in. Usually I've seen as short as Sunday night. That feels a little too fast for us. We've talked about it in our office. So we usually like to have people have at least a day or so to think about it.
Right.
So we ask for offers Monday night or even Tuesday day. We almost always have more than one offer so that we have to make a decision and accept an offer so that by Wednesday or Thursday, it's under agreement.
What's the typical number of offers you see on houses these days? Central
Jamaica Plain, 5 offers is standard, but we see as many as 10 and 15 offers per property.
Wow. Now, is it properties that are just really nice or in really good locations that garner the additional 10 offers, or is it more that desperation depending on time of year, when it's all heated up for the spring session and there's nothing available, that type of thing?
I feel like it's a little of both. There's definitely a desperation where if buyers have missed out on a couple of properties, they're going to the next property ready. They want to get this property if it's at all possible that it's the property for them. Yeah. So definitely Central Jamaica Plain, Central JP, or definitely going towards downtown Boston near the public transportation. There's multiple offers always. If you get on the outskirts of Jamaica Plain or other communities, then it's not. Then you're still seeing 2 or 3 offers. You're just not seeing 5, 8, 10 offers per property.
Right. And do you sense, especially when you're working with buyers, that there's a lot of frustration out there because things have changed so much from the way they used to be, where you kind of had your pick of what you wanted to buy, and now a house goes on the market, you see it at the open house, and you have a day to make up your mind and make an offer? Right.
Oh, they're definitely frustrated. They, like I was saying earlier, they are using other tactics. They're trying to figure out from friends of theirs if they know of anyone that is considering selling. They're writing letters into neighborhoods. So they're definitely frustrated. They're coming to the table, sometimes even dropping home inspection contingencies or mortgage contingencies, and they're still being told that somebody else had a higher offer or a better offer and they didn't get the property.
Wow. So they're giving up all of their traditional protections in an effort to get their offer accepted. In a lot of cases, I'm guessing offering more than asking price and then still not getting it.
They're still not getting it.
So what's your advice for the people in that situation?
One of the things we find ourselves saying to prospective buyers is don't get your heart set on a property, which is hard to do. That's what it's an emotional thing to do, is buy a house, especially if you're thinking about your family in the future. Well, where's, baby Joe going to sleep? And so that is one of the things we do suggest is don't get your heart set on anything. This is a process. Don't fall in love yet. And then we always say work with an experienced local realtor so you're equipped with at least knowing what's going on in the market, and they can present your offer in the best possible light.
Right. And that's one of the ways that you prep your buyers up front, is to kind of explain how the process has changed versus the way it was even a few years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
We can tell them what the market is doing for price, but what we don't know what somebody else is going to offer, because they're going in above what the market price we think should be. Mm-hmm. So we're saying we believe it's worth, just say, $500,000. Mm-hmm. And then we say somebody could pay $550,000, but this is where we think it's worth. And so we do feel like giving them that information at least equips them to then make the decision that's best for them.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to, like you said, I mean, just because somebody else is willing to pay $50,000 more than value doesn't make it a smart decision for you to do the same.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about the types of property for sale in JP. You know, obviously you've got the standard condos, multifamilies, and single families. What's the average price point these days for a condo? Say an average condition in JP.
There's such an array of types of property in Jamaica Plains. There's a lot of condominiums and triple-decker styles that were built in 1900, 1905. Mm-hmm. And those are typically from 950 square feet to 1,100 square feet. Yeah. And the average sale price for those in the last year has been $500,000. Wow. So you'll sometimes see them at $480 or $490, but right around $500,000. And that is much higher than it's been in the last few years, even in strong markets. Mm-hmm.
But still, probably a bargain when you compare it to things downtown, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about multifamilies, because even 3 or 4 years ago, that used to be one of the ways first-time buyers would get into the market. They'd buy a multifamily and use the other unit's rental income to qualify for the mortgage. Now, it seems like that's just not an option anymore. I mean, even out towards Worcester, we're having issues with finding multis that are available to sale and not having 20 other offers from people that want to flip it into condos.
Right.
Are you guys kind of seeing the same thing?
We definitely are. We say to our multifamily buyers that they are competing against developers, investors. There's been a couple of 6 families that have sold in Jamaica Plain where people wanted to park money. I don't know where they were coming from with their money. Maybe they made it somewhere else, or they made it in real estate somewhere else. So that's the normal home buyer that's thinking, I'll buy a 3-family and some of my family will live in it and I'll rent one of the units out. If they're coming to the table with 10% down or 15% down, they can't compete with the developer who sometimes they have the cash. Mm-hmm. And even if they don't have the cash, they are willing to remove a mortgage contingency. Right. And the regular buyer that's not a smart thing for them to do.
Right, especially a first-time buyer. Right. They lose the deposit on that house, and it's going to be a long time before they can buy it again.
Right.
And let's say, obviously, the developers are getting the lion's share of the multis these days.
They are.
What's driving that?
Definitely, it's that they can fix a property up, and they can turn it into condominiums. And since the inventory is so low, you have that many more home buyers. So if a developer takes a 3-family and they turn it into 3 separate homes, that's 3 buyers that come to the table. And in the past, maybe 10 years ago, a developer would think, okay, I'm going to take a 3-family, but then I have to potentially go through 3 home inspections and 3 mortgages. And developers are not that worried about that because the market is so tight that buyers are coming in along with, say 5 other buyers potentially in offers. Developers aren't worried that they may not be able to sell one and that they might be holding on to one. That hasn't been happening for a few years.
Wow. And is it, would you say that the majority, or at least a lot of the people that are buying in Jamaica Plain, they're working, in and around JP or downtown?
For sure.
So is that what's driving it? Is people want to be close to Boston so they don't have to have the god-awful commute that those of us in the suburbs have?
Right. I think that is a lot of it. I've tried to think of this for the last few years of what drives buyers to come specifically to Jamaica Plain. And I think there are a lot of things. One is the public transportation. I think one is that it's completely surrounded by green space. So Frederick Law Olmsted's green space called the Emerald Necklace that runs from Fenway comes and circles Jamaica Plain completely. So I think
wow.
that's another big draw for people coming to Jamaica Plain. And then the central part of Jamaica Plain, the business district, is eclectic and fun, and we have a lot of businesses. And I also do think that the medical area has driven the Jamaica Plain market for rentals a long time ago, and definitely for sales of condominiums. And now even if doctors that come here to do their residencies, if they stay and they're going to bring up a family, they're not going to stay in the condominium. So they move from the condominium market, and these are doctors, surgeons. So I definitely feel like the Boston proximity and definitely the medical area proximity has fueled the Jamaica Plain market.
Right. How about the rental market in Jamaica Plain? Is that getting eroded because all these multis are coming off the market and being turned into condos, or are there still a fair amount of places to rent?
We've definitely worried about that happening, and there's been some ups and downs in the rental market, but overall, when looking at the rental market in Jamaica Plain compared to other communities, it stayed quite strong. In the last year or so, the rental prices have been very high. So yeah, the rental market is strong. Like I said, we've had some blips. I feel like there's definitely more of a seasonal market with the rental market than there is with sales. Like we were talking earlier, it doesn't matter that it's July right now for the sales market.
Right.
But for rentals, we'll be strong now through September, but it will definitely slow down, and we'll have places for rent in November and December that won't fly off the market.
And what about foreign buyers in JP? We hear a lot about people from the Asian markets coming in and snapping up properties in and around downtown. Are you kind of seeing the same thing in Jamaica Plain, or is it more people that are planning to live there?
I'm definitely seeing people that are planning to live there, unless I'm looking specifically at the developers and looking at the big commercial buyers. But definitely the people that are buying the single families, the condominiums, it doesn't feel to me like it's overseas buyers.
Yeah.
At least not as entities.
Right.
They come in, if they're doctors that have come to Brigham and Women Hospital to do a residency or to do a doctoral, they may be from somewhere else, and they do have money, and they'll come to the table and they say, no, we really have cash. We're not only dropping our mortgage contingency here, we have proof of funds.
Oh, wow.
And they really do have cash.
Wow. How about kind of switching gears on you for a second, going back to the types of properties? What about people that are looking to buy single families in JP? What's the price point going to be there?
Should have a lot of money. Hopefully you just sold another piece of property somewhere else.
Yeah.
Jamaica Plain average single families are around $800,000, and they can go well over $1 million.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you're buying and selling at the same time? What's your recommendation there, especially for people that are looking, say, to move up into something bigger inside JP and they live there now?
It's happened. We've done it a couple of times actually in 2016. If our person that's selling wants to buy in the exact same marketplace, we say, buckle up. It's not going to be that easy, because although you are in the driver's seat as the seller, you're now going to be in the buyer market with the other 10 people who may want the same property you want. And if you are not going to risk putting your deposit at risk, you'll have to put a home sale contingency if you're using that money from the sale. It's been done, excuse me, because the Jamaica Plain market is so strong. It's been done, and if people are selling in that market, the other agents know, if they're going after something, the other listing agents know that our seller is going to sell their property, and they're going to sell it easily.
Right.
But it's definitely a stressful prospect.
We see a lot, I would say downtown, but even moving out, towards the western part or the central part of the state, we're seeing more and more people that are selling their houses first and then moving in with relatives or rentals, so that they have no home sale contingency and they have the money ready to go.
Right. Yeah, we've definitely been seeing that too. Especially recently, we saw 2 different people do it who have young children.
Yes.
And they thought, we just can't, with these young children, be trying to buy and sell at the same time.
Yeah. So sometimes it's a matter of convenience, even though when you look at it from the outside, it does not seem particularly convenient to move twice.
Right. Put stuff in storage.
Yeah. So why don't we talk a little bit about new construction in Jamaica Plain? Because, I mean, really, when you get right down to it, the only thing that's going to alleviate the inventory shortage anywhere in the state is going to be new construction. What are you guys seeing in Jamaica Plain right now?
There's, for the last many years, there's been every little patch. People have been putting up 2 units and 3 units properties, and they've been doing very well with it. But what we've seen in the last couple of years is big tracts of land being turned into residential real estate. On Washington Street, I think there's 3 different developments going up where there's retail on the bottom and then a lot of residential above. So it's more, I haven't looked at the numbers, but it's definitely more new construction that I've seen in many, many years.
And are those typically going to be, do they look like they're going to be condos or rental units?
2 of the major big buildings are definitely going to be condominiums. That's how they came out of the gate, talking about them being condominiums. There's one on South Huntington that was supposed to be rental, but now I've seen them up in the newspapers as selling as condominiums. Okay,
good. So I want to give out your contact info while I'm thinking of it. My guest right now is Karen McCormack of McCormack and Scanlon Real Estate in Jamaica Plain. You can email her or her team at loveliveboston@gmail.com, or you can give her a call on her cell at 617-306-7804. Again, it's 617-306-7804. Karen, thanks for coming on the show and sharing all your knowledge about the Jamaica Plain market. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.